friends, welcome to Notebook Videos. Here we have a very interesting topic that discusses collection of data in statistics. Collecting data might appear to be a very easy term, but involves many relevant questions that a statistician would have to answer as he thinks of the first stage of analysis. Data is the first step, my friends, and you need to have a clear idea what kind of data you need to collect so that it's particularly suited to the analysis you wish to conduct. Now there's a different kind of data that is available, and it's helpful to know about the different types of data. The source of data actually determines the kind of data you are collecting. For example, let's look at a bunch of data that your teacher has collected on the weights of students from your class. You can call this set of data primary data. Primary data is data that comes from the field. It's on-the-ground data. It's usually collected through various surveys, inquiry, or investigation. Since the teacher in this case checks the weight of every student in class, the data type is primary. Now there's also the secondary source of data. This is scrutinized data that already exists. You're not collecting the data from the horse's mouth. It isn't coming from inquiry or investigation. Secondary data instead could be data from a published source, from websites, or from data archives available. In other words, it's not raw data. Use of secondary data saves time and cost. There's also a downside of secondary data. It may not exactly give you the information you need. You may want to look at some unique kind of data such as birth rates in a bunch of remote villages in India that is not readily available on Google search or from other data resources. Under such circumstances, data may have to be freshly collected and would again be primary data. Majority of research that's conducted at the doctoral level for new publication is based on primary data. Now, there are different modes of collection of primary data. Primary data is most often collected through survey questionnaires. These questionnaires are often made of beneficiary groups on whom research or analysis is being done. Let's look at a typical questionnaire format. This is a nursing home employee satisfaction survey that seeks input from medical practitioners and other staff on their satisfaction levels as they work for the nursing home. Such employee satisfaction surveys are commonly used in multinational companies or workplaces where the management is concerned about employee welfare. If you look at it very closely, the respondent is asked to rate his own performance by the impact of his work on lives, or rate the extent to which the supervisor appreciates the work he or she has done. So all these inputs would therefore be the employee's own perception. There are other sections on team building and communications and scheduling and staffing. Primary questionnaires may engage in asking all sorts of questions depending upon the depth of information required. It's important that no bias is generated while these questions are asked. That is, respondents may be driven to answer some questions in a specific way, resulting in incorrect research. For example, you may want to know how well inclined a girl student is in pursuing medical sciences from a batch of Class 12 students from a reputed school. The survey could then start off with career options the girls are interested in. Leaving the question open-ended in this case may be a good thing to do. Else, if you mention a few careers with medical as one of the stated options, chances are that students are going to choose medical only because other mentioned options are not viable. In other words, all of us who may be involved in statistical analysis need to conduct a thorough research on the topic to understand what parameters that need to be looked into. That will be understanding the required parameters in a focused manner. Then, frame questions in a way that it avoids biased outcomes. So let us see how this question can be framed in the form of a questionnaire. In this case, we can have an open-ended question that says, what is your most preferred career option after class 12? And A close-ended question that gives dedicated options to choose from. What will be your most preferred career option after class 12th? 1. Engineering. 2. Hotel management. 3rd. Medical. 4th. Law. 5th. Teacher. 6th. Alternatives. Sport, music, dance, others. So here we see the difference between open-ended and closed questions depending on the way the respondents have been asked to respond to a question. Closed questions would close on an answer. Typically, there is no room for confusion here. Open-ended questions, on the other hand, would try to get more information from respondents with an opportunity to share their feelings and perspectives. They are usually very thought-provoking and good for creative potential. Closed-ended questions could also be two-way questions when the answers are limited to only yes or no. So an example in this case could be, do you want to have medical as a career option after your class 12 graduation? Yes or no? And the respondent chooses between affirmative or negative. Two-way questions are commonly used in questionnaires. So see how interesting research can get. A wrong way of asking question may simply change the outcome of a research. Researchers are often very conscious about the question patterns and how data is collected. Collection of data is an interesting exercise. You could conduct this in various ways depending on the kind of information required. Information, as we know, can be qualitative and quantitative. Information is collected through key person interviews, survey questionnaires, or telephonic conversations. These three methods may be used for collection of qualitative and quantitative data. A subjective answer to a question is typically considered to be qualitative, while an objective answer is typically quantitative data. Suppose we ask a respondent to review a movie that he or she has just watched at a movie theater. The movie is fresh in the respondent's mind and he is able to answer the questions appropriately as a result of that. So the interviewer could ask, how did you like the movie? And then we get a feedback on the movie and we call it a movie review. Another question may also be, can you rate the movie between 1 to 5 if you are given a choice? 1 being the worst and 5 being excellent. This is therefore a quantitative form of question collection data between 1 to 5 as the answer is quantitative. With this, we shall close on the first part of the chapter collecting data. I hope you have been able to grasp on the major concepts involved. The key takeaways from this session would be differences between primary and secondary form of data, format of questionnaire, conceptual ability to frame the right kind of questions so that there are no biased outcomes, different modes of collecting of quantitative and qualitative data. If you have been able to understand all these concepts, it must be very illuminating. Let's catch up on the second part of this video. Goodbye and good luck.